you are here and ready to witness this epic undertaking, because this epic undertaking is going to reveal one of the most incredible aspects of our lives. And we have all been told that we need to be grateful for every experience that we have in our life. And yes, there is a component of that. And I am dressed as a fortune teller or a wizard or a magician or whatever it is that fits your narrative to get you to understand that there's much bigger things going on here than what most people recognize. Now, I got this idea from Johnny Carson. Now, so for some of you, I just aged myself. Johnny Carson used to have this skit where he used to have a index card and he used to predict what the future holds. And that's what I'm here to tell you. I'm here to inform you that there are certain things in your life that are going to be unrevealed, and I can predict to a certain level of accuracy and what that looks like. And my earpiece is coming apart here. So we all have this thing that we've all been taught that, oh, be patient, this too shall pass. And I'm here to tell you that is absolutely 100% accurate. And it is much bigger to realize that there's much more going on with that than what most people recognize. Because for some of us, including myself, and obviously everything that I teach is a reflection of what's gone on in my own life at various levels. And I had a upbringing that I needed to be grateful for my jobs. Now, obviously, there's a very important component to that. We all need to be grateful for our jobs because they are a catalyst or part of the progression or a stepping stone that allows us to step into higher opportunities for ourselves. And when we start utilizing and recognizing that gratitude can literally become the limitation because we don't know how to challenge the people in our lives that teach us these things. Again, it's not looking at it as bad, good, or indifferent. It's looking at it that is their model of the world. And some of us were taught by that, by people that were raised in the Depression. And back in the Depression, people had to be grateful and take what they were offered at that time. We live in different opportunities now. We live in different times where we can create things at a drop of a hat, and there's more people, more millionaires being created today than ever in the history of time. So understanding that this too shall pass means, now we get told that when we're in a shitstorm, I say that word metaphorically and literally, of these things in our lives that we want to get through so that we can get to the other side, because we don't like how uncomfortable we are when we're going through the experience, right? And so we use these metaphors or these little cliche statements to give us inspiration and hope to move through whatever we need to move through in order for us to create what it is that we want to create, or get the lesson so the damn lesson quits repeating, because these freaking repeating lessons are so painful and I don't want to experience them anymore. But see, it's that keeps us attracting the lessons, because the lessons are going to keep attracting until we get the lesson. Right? Like the problem is the problem until we learn the solution or create the metaphor or understanding within ourselves so that we have the solution, and we don't recognize that we don't need a problem anymore. So when I say this too shall pass, means that there's going to be a time that there is somebody in your life that you have a relationship at whatever level you have that relationship, that might be the very last time you ever see them again. Because there will be a day when you never see that person again. Yeah, because life is life, and that too shall pass. Also means that the great things in life, the things that we experience so much joy with, like I've lost some really important relationships this last year. And I didn't understand this component of this lesson until this last year. I started out 2021 saying, this is the most epic year of my life. And having somebody say, oh, we're just beginning. Like, you have no idea how great this is going to be. And it literally turning into one of the most difficult years of my life. Now, the most transformational years of my life. And what happened is I ended up losing some really, really, really important relationships in my life that put me in a position for me to understand what was really important. And what was really important was my ability to understand and trust who I am and what I can create at a level that I didn't even think possible, because some of the things that I got entangled to this last year was me reaching outside of myself to believe that I needed somebody else in my life to be a catalyst. Now, was that absolutely true? Absolutely. And that also meant that it also created other opportunities that I had to let go of in order for me to be able to create what it is that I created today. So I get to be the wizard in that component. Like magic is nothing more of something that happens beyond our bandwidth or our understanding of what we believe is possible. Some people call it miracles, some people call it magic. It's just our level reflecting back to us our level of understanding. So like a magician, it's not magic to them because they understand how to create the illusion that makes somebody believe that it's magical, right? Somebody that understands or walks in the realm of creating miracles, of healing people, it's not a miracle to them because they understand that they are source and that they're able to create things that other people don't understand how to do it. So they end up teaching us some things that we can take on, but we have to be able to look beyond what we believe, because our beliefs come from our interpretation of the experience. And see, my friend, you get to change. You get to be the author of that. Like all of the things, and this is alchemy. This is where the wizard inside of me comes out, and understanding that you get to create your narrative of every single experience. Now, you might not have understood that when you created some of the experiences in your childhood, which has ended up becoming the factor that 95% of what we know, or 75% we know in our entire life, was by the age of 5. We didn't have the cognitive ability or the awareness to understand that we were creating narratives and programs that were going to run the rest of our lives. Had we know that, we would have chose different ones. Or if we would have had people in our lives that would have told us what we were actually doing, we might have chose different narratives and different beliefs about life. But see, this too shall pass also means that you have to let go of some of the paradigms that you had, that you developed as a child, in order for you to become something different in what you want to create. See, this is the magic of creating a desire, a dream, or something outside of yourself. And my head is just bouncing all over the place, right? The purpose of a dream and a goal and achievement and a desire is to you becoming something, that you having something so powerful that it compels you and directs you and empowers you to become a different version of who you are in order to create and manifest that. See, this too shall pass means that you have to be aware that there are certain aspects of your life that you have taken on that keep you playing the game, the level of the game that you're playing. And I'm not saying levels in linear, I'm talking levels in exponential. Like you have to expand in order for you to create something different. And you have to understand that in that expansion, there's a certain necessity of expansion and contraction, right? Otherwise, if you exceed the threshold of what is able to expand, you take catastrophic breakdowns. But if you contract, and that's all more what you're focusing on, what you might be wanting to expand into is going to require you letting go of what requires you to contract. Like having contraction is a great thing in the context of when it benefits who you are. But having contraction in keeping you in your self-imposed and self-created prison is something different, right? Like potential, like my whole life has been around understanding potential. Potential is the actualization of possibility. That doesn't mean that it's positive outcome. It has that aspect of it for sure. But potential can also mean, which started my whole journey on this, of me destroying my life. But see, I didn't even value that until I almost took my sister's life, which changed the whole narrative. What if that was my higher self that said, hey, this is what it's going to be required for Jeff to really start valuing life, is we have to put somebody's life that he really values into this equation. What if? But see, me hanging on to that equation caused me to hold myself in a self-imposed prison that wouldn't allow me to expand, right? Because I felt so guilty and shameful for what I did to her. I wasn't able to look at certain aspects of who I am, right? I wasn't able to listen to aspects of who I was that I had to let go of in order for me to embrace the components of me that was required for me to be able to create the new life. This year, This year is my 10x year. And I would not even say that publicly if I did not understand what is inside of me and trust what's inside of me to be able to create that. See, friends, it's taken me what it's taken me in order for me to get where I'm at. And in order for me to do that, I had to let go of what kept me playing smaller. This too shall pass. And see, this too shall pass means it is not based on what's positive or joyful or loving or sad or dark or painful. This too shall pass is understanding. It's aligned with a higher frequency of life, which is called rhythms. Like winter will pass, summer will pass, spring will pass. Seasons of life pass. And the seasons of life have within it their own experiences that determine what we get to experience out of that based on our ability to be the authority and the author of our lives. You get to determine the experience in itself because you're the creator and the narrative of the narrative. Really hear what I just told you. You are the authority, the author of the narrative that you create about each experience. Right. And I love the questions I'm getting from people. Like the people that are asking me questions is telling me that something is happening within inside of themselves and something is waking up and questioning and going, what does this mean? And they're asking me these questions that are amazing. And because they ask the questions, hopefully my intention is that I answer in a way that empowers them and inspires them to reach beyond what is wanting to be let go of. See, we have to let go of certain things in our past in order for us to expand our asking to receive something new. To expand our asking to receive something new. See, that's why I always tell people, increase the size of your ask and get your butt out of the way. See, because the moment we ask something, the next thing that comes in is like, but, I'm not able to really receive that. And see, our receptivity is based on our level of deservedness and our level of what we think we're worthy of. And I get there's some teachings out there that say you're not worthy of anything and it's by grace that you've been saved. Got it. And how's that been working so far? Like start looking at the data. And I get it. That was all created at a certain level of understanding as well. And so when you start understanding levels of understanding and really see what it is that you're accessing and the entanglement of the whole journey and what you're really entangled with that keeps you believing what you're believing and keep accessing what you're accessing, lots of possibilities start happening in a way that you can't even fathom what's possible. Like in the last 36 hours, my life has radically changed in areas like, oh my gosh. And you know what was required of everything for that to happen? I had to go through the most transformational year of my life in order for me to be where I'm at now and being able to say, this is my 10x year. Because I used to tell people all the time, would it be willing for you if you made $30,000, $40,000, $100,000 a year? Would it be worth it it took you 10 years to learn how to create $1 million a year? Would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? Abso-freaking-lutely. And so guess what? It's taken me decades, 3 decades to get to this place where I can say, this is my 10x year. And I've never said that before because I knew deep inside of myself that was going to be such an expansion for me that I didn't know if I could trust my ability to expand at such a rapid rate. Today, I believe that because I knew what everything I went through last year. And now, because guess what, friends? Your ability to trust you is what requires you to step into a way of you to expand and create the life that you want. So my prediction is, my friend, now I'm a fortune teller. I can be a wizard. I can be a magician. I can be a fortune teller. And my fortune teller aspect says, you're going to keep creating the life that you've created up to this point until you make decisions that start unlocking new possibilities within yourself and you start accessing different things and start asking different questions so that you start getting different answers. That's what's going to create your future. Your thoughts that you are having today are going to create your tomorrow. That is unequivocally undebatable. If you want a different tomorrow, then you're going to have to start using different thoughts. You're going to have to start accessing different motions. You're going to have to start letting go of what's created to get you to where you're at. It doesn't mean looking through duality, meaning you let go of everything. It's not what that means. It's looking at this too shall pass. And am I accessing my history, or am I accessing my ability to create the life that I want to design? Because what are you committed to? Are you committed to your history? Is your ego so caught up in this narrative that you created the meaning about your history and going, well, dude, if I change this narrative, that means that I might be wrong. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? It means nothing more than what you mean it. Failure has no meaning but the meaning you give to it. That's why I say there's no such thing as failure. It's a illusion. It's a thing that people have come up and created, right? Or we've been indoctrinated to believe through our developmental process through education. Just saying that, something to think about, right? You're not a failure. You're not a failure. You've had experiences in your life that didn't turn out the way that you hoped that they would turn out to teach you lessons, and they passed. And what are the lessons that you took from them? How can you take those lessons and turn them into something that becomes your fertilizer? Like shit turns into fertilizer. That's a natural process. What if these stories that you've identified as situations that you don't want in your life become the superpower of who you are? Like, you wouldn't believe some of the conversations that I've had with my clients. It's amazing. It's amazing what people are willing to do to other humans out of pain. It's amazing. It's amazing at how many people are in the transformational industry that are so full of freaking wounds that they have no idea how they're impacting other people because their egos will not allow them to see it. I know I'm guilty of it. I've some egotistical things in my journey on being a coach and a trainer and speaker and all that stuff, and just being like out of my ego, said some stuff that landed in ways that I wasn't even aware of. And thank goodness I had some people in my life that pointed it out. And thank goodness I was in a place to receive it, because I don't want to do that to people. But see, when our ego, we're so caught up in our ego and wanting to protect our facade that we've created, so caught up in creating our persona of how we want people to perceive us, which is some of why I got on my brain. My extended brain is acting so big, it's bouncing all over the place. Because I want to disrupt what you see of me. Because what you see of me is a projection of you, not me. And I'm interested in you seeing your own truth. And may I have some tools that I've learned throughout the years that will accelerate that for you, then awesome. Then we both achieve what we wanted, right? Yeah. And I appreciate you being here, my friend. And I hope I disrupted your day enough to get your attention, because your attention, hear very clearly, friends, your attention is your life force. What are you giving it to? Because the more you invest your life force into something, the more subject you become of it. Case in point, when you bet on a football game, it's a much different football game. And you do not see that football game from a logical standpoint of moves and plays and mistakes and things like that. You now are looking at it through the investment that you put into it by betting on that game. And your reason goes right out the window. And we do it in every area of our lives. I've invested into people that led me down paths that have been instrumental in turning my caterpillar into my butterfly. And I don't care who you are or what you think, but I'm sorry, metamorphosis is not a peaceful kumbaya, yippee-hi journey. Ask a caterpillar what it means to let go of their identity and step into being a butterfly. I think you would have a much different conversation. The other thing is, I don't think God's too concerned about death. Just throwing that out there for you. Because it's a different dimension. And God has a much bigger understanding of some things than us little human beings do. Because we perceive things from a finite perspective. God sees them through an infinite perspective. And for us to believe that we know what God thinks, you might want to think about that. Okay? So, what do you think of my big brain? I love it. I'm so glad you're here, and I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate you taking your time, because your time is yours. It's all you got. This is not a dress rehearsal. We have a finite amount of time on this thing called life. What are you doing with it? right? And I appreciate you taking a moment and investing with you. And hopefully there's something that my journey, which has been my whole story that I've invested every single nanosecond of my life into, has had some value for you so that you may be able to see what's possible and let go of some of the things that have kept you playing at the level that you're playing at. No judgment value, my friend. I have got a master. I got a mastery PhD devil. Bleh. See right there. Case in point, just case in point right there. I have a mastery and PhD into screwing up my life. And they have become some of my greatest tools because I let go of the narrative of what I thought it meant to be a successful human. Successful human is embracing mastery. And mastery is sucking long enough to get good at something and not judging the sucking component of it, right? Because that's just wanting to protect who we are. Stop protecting yourself and unleash yourself by stepping into your fullest potential. And if I can support that, by all means, go to the potentialzonegroup.com. You'll be amazed what's going on over there. Some amazing things are happening, some amazing energy that's changing people's lives. Love to have you be a part of the community. And also got an amazing workshop coming up at masteringpotential.com, masteringpotential.com. Sign up. You'll be glad you did. Be the greatest investment you ever made in your life. Be the greatest investment you ever made in your life. What are you investing your energy into, my friend? Because it will pass. It will pass. And then what are you going to be on the other side of it? Like some people think a haircut, color of hair, it's overrated. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Get introduced to a new part of you. And man, that just made me go red like crazy on Instagram up there. Nothing has any meaning but the meaning you give it, my friend. Okay. And this too shall pass. And your meaning will evolve and expand, and you will understand something different down the road. Like people used to think I was a white supremacist because I shaved my head before it was in vogue. And I never in my life understood what prejudice was until I got that experience. I've been told by people saying, I bet you wish you were Armenian. Whoa, what the hell? I understand prejudice. I'm not like some people have experienced prejudice because I'm not by any means going to look at that as being a victim. It just got me to have a whole other level of compassion. Right? So that too shall pass. This too shall pass. What part of your life do you need to let pass so that you can step into higher levels of who you are? Right? I love you. I appreciate you. My mission is to empower you and use my creativity to teach you methods so that you can expand into your most fullest potential self. Okay? So until next time, my friend, live like your life depends on it, because it really does. Every moment is creating your future. And the more you take that into consideration, the more intentional you can get about creating the life that you want. Be blessed. I love you. I'll see you in the next show. Take care.